أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. करीब करीब आ जाए माशाल्लाह. Come close. निकाह वाले आगे आ जाए. The groom, father of the groom, the witnesses, the representative of the bride. You're not getting married as well,
No,
eh?
no. I'm going to get shouted at.
I thought he's taking your place, bro. He came forward so worried.
Yeah, I was. Didn't want to do it.
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah wahda wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da amma ba'd. Inshallah, we'll keep it very short and sweet. Our madrasa is still in progress, so it will be nothing too long-winded. The groom getting married today is like a very close, I won't say friend, but a family member. We've seen him in his nappies, to be quite frank. He's played in our laps. We've probably even fed him milk as well. And that, I'm not giving away my age there, by the way, but but that's what it is. So it's one that we could never ever have refused. So it's like a family member getting married, mashallah, and the amount of happiness that, mashallah, he is probably experiencing, his family, his grandparents, and I must give a mention to his grandmother, who also we were very close to, travel with her. I remember pushing her wheelchair in Tawaf so many times as well. So I can't forget a person like that. We have another very person close to our hearts who's our teacher as well. We did our Quran with him, we did our Hifz with him, and that's obviously the uncle of the father of the groom, Hafiz Saeed, who's our Hamare Ustad bhi hote hai. He's actually unwell in hospital. We request your sincere du'as that Allah Ta'ala grant him complete shifa and a speedy recovery, inshallah. But without further ado, just very, very quickly for Muhammad Ilyas, mashallah, you are about to enter into a new phase, into a new chapter of your life. Until now, you were always known as the baby of the family, okay? And he's probably still is the baby family, of the family, though he has actually jumped the queue, yeah, a little bit, which I have to mention. And Inamul Hassan, please don't be late on the day of your nikah. Where is it? You know, I stood you should stand up for those extra rakats, and I'm thinking, please, Inam, don't do this on the day when you're getting married. Okay, it's your brother today, which is fine, but don't do that on your nikah, inshallah. These guys are like sons to us, they're like brothers to us, so, you know, I'm going to keep it very open and honest with these guys. But mashallah, like I said, we've seen him grow up, and he's now entering a phase of his life, you know, which will be very different, you know, and there's no doubt that marriage is a complete different chapter of your life. And this is why Allah, the Holy Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that, you know, when you enter into this phase of marriage, you have now actually completed your deen, and this is what it's about. And when you complete your deen, you become a complete person, so long as you stay as a complete person. You know, one person asked his mother that, Mom, when do I know I've found the right bride? I've found the right person for me to be my partner of life. What did the mother turn around and say to him? Okay, beta, don't bother searching for the right person and the complete bride or the best bride. Just be sure to be the best person. That's what we have to be. And I was listening to a bayan today, and you know, Maulana was saying that there was this one Maulsab, he was sat trying to do mutala of, you know, he was preparing a bayan. And whilst he was preparing his bayan, it so happened that he was in his little library of his home, and that his young child, young son, whoever it was, wandered into the room. And we all know how challenging it is sometimes. You know, you're working in the office, or you're sat in your library, you're trying to read something, you're trying to do some work, and then all of a sudden your young child wanders into the room wanting that attention. You're trying to finish off your chore or your work, whatever you're trying to do, but that child is obviously kind of diverting your attention, is dragging you, is pulling at you. The child wants to play with them, etc., etc. Likewise, this child wandered into the room. So, you know, Maulana was obviously very sensitive. He wanted to make sure that he engaged the child constructively. He didn't want to just shun the child away. So he thought to himself, how can I engage this child so that child remains busy for a while, and I can also continue basically with my work, and the child won't disturb me. So he found a magazine, and in that magazine there was a map of the world. Yeah. So he tore this page out with the map of the world, and he tore the map to pieces. Now this was quite a young child. And then he thought, you know what, I'm going to give these pieces to the child and say, right, your task is, and what I want you to do is, I want you to, someone else wants you to get married as well, bro. I'm sorry, everybody's jumping today. Yeah, okay. Sorry, there's 3 of you today. Anyway, so he tore this map up to pieces, and he basically handed it over to the child and said to the child that, I want you to put this map together again. Knowing the child was very young, he thought, you know what, the child is going to take a long time in doing this, and I'll be able to get my work done. Only for the child to return after 10 minutes and said, Dad, I've done it. I've completed it. I've completed the task. So he took the map, and it was perfect. And he saw that all the continents, all the countries, all the oceans, everything was in perfect place. And he's thinking to himself, how do you manage to do it so quickly when you're so young? How did you know where Africa goes, and where Australia goes, and where America goes, and where the Antarctica goes? How do you manage to do this? He goes, no, Dad. He goes, I didn't look at that. He goes, what did you look at? He said, well, there was a picture of the human body on the other side. So I knew where a head goes. I knew where the hands go. I knew where the legs go. I just did it from the back, and it was perfect from the front. So he said, and that Maulana was sat there preparing his bayan, thinking to what shall I talk about? What should be my subject of bayan today? And he was kind of racking his brains, not being able to come up with a subject. And I can assure you, those of the ulama that are imams over here, you can ask them every Friday. It's a headache. What am I going to talk on today? And it's a task in itself. So as soon as this child said this, he goes, you've given me my topic for today. He goes, इंसान जब सही होगा बाकी सब चीजें सही हो जाएगी. When the human is intact and he is in line, everything of his is intact, then everything around him will be intact. So be sure to be the best person with that. That's my only advice to you today. Other than that, we have differences of opinion. Marriage, you know, like they say, there's 2 couples. Got the newlywed and the nearly dead. Yeah? It's up to you what you want to be. Do you want to remain as that, the marriage of the newlywed? Or do you want to become like the nearly dead? Okay, and I'm not pointing at anyone, by the way. Okay, so it's up to you, beta. So long as you live your life according to Sunnah, according to the teachings of our beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your marriage will stay as exclusive as the marriage of the newlywed, as the marriage of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our beloved mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And how much love did they have between them? Little things, they go so far. Nowadays, we ignore those things. And even those of us that are married, sometimes we think of it as something very trivial. And then sometimes we go home and we realize that, the wife is sat there, she's got her face on, she's sulking, and you're thinking to yourself, what have I done now? Yeah? And then you ask her, why are you upset? And then she'll say something. In our minds, it's something that's really trivial. And is it actually noli wat actually nahi jai wat then such a small thing, you become so upset. But she'll be like, no, but normally you do it this way. Why did you forget this time? And that's how it is. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he'd drink from a glass of water. Yeah? And Hazrat Aisha would drink from a glass of water. And after Hazrat Aisha has drunk from that glass of water, she'd hand that glass of water to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What would Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? Kana yatatabba. The hadith says he would look for this place where Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha placed her lips and where she drank from. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would drink from the very same place. That was love. That was paying attention to detail. The little things mattered to them. And that is what kept their marriages so fruitful, so full of bliss, so full of happiness. And this is what it's about. Sunnah, the life of our beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Pay attention to those little details that he had. And he had 11 spouses. He had 11 wives. He kept them all happy. How did he manage this? Through these little details. And that's what it's all about, beta. Study the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I say to you, and I say to the bride as well, who's probably, mashallah, listening to us at home, and all the rest of the people, Hafiz Said, mashallah, will be watching us, sat hopefully in hospital as well. Same thing, beta, sunnah. And that's for all the youngsters that are sat in front of me today as well. So long as we live our lives according to sunnah, you'll see the blessings and the barakah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will place in our lives, in our homes, in our marriages as well. And the moment we move away from sunnah, there's no doubt that we are opening a door of hardship, of difficulty, of calamities. And then we see all the different problems and all the different social and domestic issues that we had to contend and deal with on a day-to-day basis. So this is my advice to you, beta, inshallah. Take it, inshallah. Mebs, can I start? Yeah. So by sab aa gaye na, koi dusra nikah padne wala to nahi hai na. ठीक है? So we have, mashallah, Mohamed Ilyas, who's the groom, obviously. The bride is Rumaana Mohamed. The mahar given is 860 pounds, mahar Fatimi, which has already been given. Okay, that's fine. Representative of the bride, Salim Ahmed Mohammed. Salim uncle, okay? And witness number 1 is Ilyas Ahmed Babar. That's you, yeah? Oh, that's why you were jumping. Okay, I thought you were to get married, bro. Sorry. And Salim Bhai Jangarwala. Oh, Salim Bhai Jangarwala. To પછી Salim Ahmed Mohammed कौन? Oh, tell me, भाई होना कौन नहीं भाई? हम एक दफा, when we were studying, we used to practice Nikah ceremonies with our teacher, I remember. And Maulana Imtiaz Sahab, who's the Imam of Jewsbury Markaz, he was my teacher for these kind of things. On a Saturday afternoon, we used to have him. So on one occasion, we did a practice of a Nikah ceremony. So there's one person conducting the ceremony, like myself. He obviously had the witnesses sat in front of him, and he also had the, what do you call it? The groom, the kind of, obviously, fake groom that was sat in front of him as well. And the guy who was conducting the Nikah ceremony, instead of asking the groom, he asked the witness, and the witness accepted as well. That's fine. Okay? No problem. That's fine, inshallah. So, can I start, inshallah? ठीक है, आप लोगों ने इजाजत ले ली, सलीम चाचा तुमने इजाजत ले ली, रुमाना पार्टी. You guys heard her giving she's happy for me to proceed. You're happy for me to proceed. You've read the fine print, yeah? You know what happens, isn't it? Yeah? There's one young person, his father asked him, my mother asked him, कि बेटा कैसी बीवी चाहिए तुझे? So he said, चांद जैसी. He goes, what do you mean? जो दिन को आए और रात को चली जाए. जो रात को आए और दिन को चली जाए. ठीक है? No problem. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما وقال تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أعظم النكاح بركة أيسره مؤونة وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تزوجوا الولود الودود فإني مكاثر بكم الأمم يوم القيامة وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم النكاح من سنتي وقال فمن رغب عن سنتي فليس مني أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. So Mohamed, Ilyas, Desai, your bride Rumaana Mohamed, okay, Salim Ahmed Mohamed was the representative of the bride who sought her permission in the presence of the two witnesses, Ahmed Babar and Salim Bhai Jangarwala. She has willingly given her consent for her to be presented in your wedlock in return for the Meher Fatimi of £860. So we obviously offer to you, Muhammad Ilyas, your bride, Rumaana Mohamed, in your wedlock to become your partner of life, to become your bride. Do you accept Rumaana to become your bride and to become your partner of life? I accept Rumaana as my bride. Nakahtuha wa qabiltuha wa tazawwajtuha. Barakallahu laka wa baraka alaykuma wa jama'a baynakuma fi khair. Inshallah, muqtasar dua kar lete hain. And just one request, because we have madrasa still operating, inshallah, I'm sure everybody wants to congratulate, obviously, to the family members. If we can keep it very short and concise, and inshallah, as quickly as we can, inshallah, if you can leave the masjid and we can resume the classes, inshallah. Jazakallah. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك على الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات إنك على كل شيء قدير يا ودود يا ودود يا ذا العرش المجيد يا مبدئ يا معيد يا فعال لما يريد نسألك بنور وجهك الذي ملأ أركان عرشك ونسألك بقدرتك التي قدرت بها على جميع خلقك ونسألك برحمتك الذي وسعت كل شيء لا إله إلا أنت يا مغيث أغثنا يا مغيث أغثنا يا مغيث أغثنا يا من لا تراه العيون ولا تخالطه الظنون ولا يصفه الواصفون ولا تغير الحوادث ولا يكشف الدوائر يعلم مثاقيل الجبال ومكائد البحار وعدد قطر الأمطار وعدد ورق الأشجار وعدد ما أظلم عليه الليل وأشرق عليه النهار ولا تواري منه سماء ولا أرض أرضا ولا بحر ما في قعره ولا جبل ما في وعره اجعل خير عمرنا آخرة وخير أعمالنا خواتمة وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك فيه اللهم إنا إليك ضعفاء فقوي في رضاك ضعفنا وخذ إلى الخير بنواسينا واجعل الإسلام منتهى رضائنا اللهم ثبتنا على الإيمان وأمتنا على الإيمان واحشرنا يوم القيامة مع المتقين مع الإيمان اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم ربنا أتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار या अल्लाह हमारे गुनाहों को माफ़ फरमा दे या अल्लाह जिस मकसद के लिए हम यहाँ पे जमा हुए हैं या अल्लाह इस निकाह के सिलसिले में जमा हुए हैं या अल्लाह इस निकाह के अंदर तू बेहद बरकतें नाजिल फरमा दे या अल्लाह इत्तिफाक और मोहब्बत नाजिल फरमा दे या अल्लाह ज़ौजैन को एक दूसरे के हुकूक अदा करने की तौफीक नसीब फरमा दे या अल्लाह मिलकर उनके अपने वालिदैन के हुकूक भी अदा करने की तौफीक नसीब फरमा दे या अल्लाह घर के अंदर एक अमन का गहवारा तू बना दे या अल्लाह इस निकाह के ज़रिए से नेक साल औलाद को दुनिया के अंदर वजूद में आने का ज़रिया बना दे या अल्लाह उनको हर किस्म की खुशियाँ तू नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह हर किस्म के फितनों से, शुरूर से या अल्लाह तू उनकी पूरी पूरी हिफाजत फरमा दे। या अल्लाह शरीर की शरारतों से, फितन के फितनों से, बदनज़री करने वालों की बदनज़री से या अल्लाह इस निकाह की तू पूरी पूरी हिफाजत फरमा दे। या अल्लाह ख़ानदानों के अंदर मोहब्बत नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह इनके दिलों को तू जोड़ दे। या अल्लाह ता क़यामत उनके दिलों को हमेशा या अल्लाह तू जोड़े हुए रखना। या अल्लाह जितने भी मैं निकाह इस मजलिस के अंदर बैठे हैं, जो निकाह के मुतमन्नी हैं, या अल्लाह उनको तू नेक साले जोड़े नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह जो बे औलाद है उनको तो औलाद नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह जो नरीना औलाद के मुतमन्नी है उनको नरीना औलाद नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह जो बच्चियों के मुतमन्नी है उनकी बच्चियां उनको नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह हमारे घरों के अंदर सुन्नत वाला माहौल पैदा फरमा दे। सुन्नत के मुताबिक अल्लाह इन दोनों नौजवानों को या अल्लाह मियाँ बीवी को ज़िंदगी गुजारने की तौफीक नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह सुन्नत की ज़िंदगी को सीख सीख कर या अल्लाह उसके मुताबिक तेरे नबी की सुन्नतों को अपनाते हुए उनको ज़िंदगी गुजारने की तौफीक नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह जितने भी लोग बीमार हैं हालांकि उनकी उनकी या अल्लाह उनकी बीमारियों से उनको शिफाए कुल्ली नसीब फरमा दे। अल्लाह हमारे हाफिज़ सईद को भी शिफाए कुल्ली नसीब फरमा दे। अल्लाह जितने हमारे इस घराने के मरहूमीन हैं या अल्लाह उनकी कब्रों को तो नूर से भर दे। या अल्लाह अगर वो इस मौके के ऊपर होते तो वो इस खुशियों के अंदर हासिल शामिल होते। या अल्लाह तू उनको अपनी खुशियाँ वहाँ जन्नत के नेमतों के ज़रिए से या अल्लाह तू नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह हमारे महबूब की माँ को या अल्लाह उनकी कब्र को कुशादा फरमा दे। या अल्लाह उनके जो वालिद साहब दुनिया के अंदर के उनकी ज़िंदगी के अंदर खूब बरकतें नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह उनकी ज़िंदगी को लंबी फरमा दे। या अल्लाह उनको या अल्लाह उनको हर किस्म की बीमारी से या अल्लाह तू आफियत नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह बाकी जितने भी बीमार हैं या अल्लाह हमारी जो ये या अल्लाह जो शौहर है यहाँ पे हमारा मोहम्मद इलियास उसकी जो बीवी है या अल्लाह उनके घर वालों के अंदर भी जो बीमार है या अल्लाह उनको भी या अल्लाह तू शिफाए कुल्ली नसीब फरमा दे। या अल्लाह उनका भी दुनिया से जो चल बसा है या अल्लाह उनकी कब्रों को भी तू नूर से या अल्लाह भरपूर फरमा दे। या अल्लाह जो भी जिसके दिल के अंदर जो भी दुआ की तमन्ना है या अल्लाह उनकी तमन्नाओं को तू जानता है। या अल्लाह मैं अपने ज़बान के ऊपर कितने लोगों के लिए दुआ कर सकता हूँ। या अल्लाह तू सबकी तमन्नाओं को पूरी फरमा दे, सबकी हाजात को पूरी फरमा दे, सबके दिली तमन्नाओं को तू पूरा फरमा दे। या अल्लाह उन दिलों के भेद को तू जानने वाला है। या अल्लाह हमने तुझसे मांगा है अपनी कोता समझ के मुताबिक तो हमें अता फरमा। या अल्लाह तेरे शान के मुताबिक सुब्हान रब्बिका रब्बिल इज्जति अम्मा यसिफून व सलामुन अलल मुरसलीन वल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन रहमतिका या अरहम।